What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. Today, very early stream. The Ravens are playing at noon, which means that we get to do an early pregame stream. Obviously, we're facing off against the Falcons. According to Jeff Zrebic, just so people know, the starting O-line in warmups is Josh Jones, Andrew Voorhees, Makari starting at center. So potentially maybe seeing a little bit of Ben Cleveland at guard could happen. Falele at right guard and Rosengarten at right tackle. So pretty similar to what we saw last week. But, I will say I don't love seeing our rookies out there, just to try and prevent injury. But also, I do understand that we want to get them their NFL reps, get them experience to that when they play week one, like we expect maybe Rosengarten and Voorhees to both do. We want them to be able to feel competent, feel ready against, guys like Chris Jones and George Karlaftis, some very good pass rushers that the Chiefs have. So I get it. Nate Wiggins is also in warmups, but apparently he is not in uniform. So hopefully nothing he's not playing. that's the hope of Nate Wiggins. Also David Ojabo is warming up, and Adisa Isaac is also in uniform. Hopefully we get to see both of those guys. David Ojabo, as much as we want to prevent injury with him, I think one of the biggest things that I'm looking at is what is he going to be able to do on the field? And he needs reps. He's missed so much time over the last couple of years. I'm totally fine with playing him. Adisa Isaac, I would love to see him out there. Both of those guys are pass rushers that I think the Ravens are looking for as, hey, you're going to be part of the big, committee that has to be the edge rush group. Obviously, we have, a great interior pass rusher with Justin Matabike. But outside of that, we're looking for guys on the outside. Lisa says Josh Johnson needs to improve over last Friday night's debacle. If not, will he get his walking papers? He was so bad. And I don't know why, but Todd Monken has made it very clear, and he even did so last year. He loves Josh Johnson. I mean, he thinks he is everything. And I don't think he's good. I think most people would say that he's not good. And when you're looking at what, the Ravens are looking for in a backup, Todd Monken's going to be the one that makes that call. And apparently he really likes him, which is unfortunate. Next up, as Modi's, what time's the preseason game? I think it's at noon. I live on the West Coast, so 9 a.m. for me. But noon today for anybody in the East Coast. How's it going, Yolanda? Good to see you back in here. It is game day, and it's so exciting. We love game day. It's very nice for me that I get to watch this game, because if you guys don't know, I think maybe my favorite player I've ever watched in college, outside of obviously Stanford players, because I'm a Stanford fan. I think my favorite player of all time is Michael Penix, collegiately at least. And so getting to watch him in a game against the Ravens, where if Michael Penix goes off, it doesn't matter. Like, if we play Michael Penix in the regular season, I'm obviously rooting against him. But in the preseason, I get to root for, one of my favorite players of all time to go out there and sling the rock, which he did in the first game. So we get to check in on the pass defense from the Ravens. The Philadelphia Eagles ran the ball a ton. Maybe that's because Nate Wiggins was locking everybody up. But, I'm very excited to see what Michael Penix does and how our defense, and hopefully TJ Tampa gets a go at it today. But, very exciting. My old school is playing it in the Benz today, probably why Atlanta has an away game. Void, I don't know if TJ Tampa is playing. I know he returned to practice. I think he's cleared to play. We'll see. Put Malik at quarterback. I'm kind of surprised that we don't give him a shot, considering how bad the other players were. But, reportedly he wants to make that transition to wide receiver. He was not necessarily the best quarterback prospect. He was drafted because he's such a good athlete. And, maybe if the Patriots were able to figure it out at quarterback, it would work. But he had said, I believe, in the pre draft process, he was willing to make positional changes. Very different approach than Lamar. He's also a much worse quarterback prospect than Lamar was. But with how bad everyone else was, maybe we give Malik Cunningham a shot. He just hasn't been working on his throwing or anything like that. Lisa, I definitely agree. I think Charlie Kohler is one of the most enticing players on this Ravens team. I gotta get taller like this because that third tight end is going to be crucial. And Asmodeus, appreciate it so much, Asmodeus, the absolute legend. Thank you for the super chat. I'll definitely be getting something. Probably a shake. We'll see if it has protein. I don't know. It might. I appreciate it though. Lamar has never been a bad quarterback prospect. I completely agree. Lamar Jackson was a first round pick. And I think people need to recognize that in an era where athletic quarterbacks like Lamar weren't necessarily drafted as early as they are now, right? Because of the success Lamar Jackson has had, I think we get to see players such as Jaden Daniels, such as Anthony Richardson, guys that, have great legs. Not as great as Lamar, but like players that were seen as very good. Now teams are saying, hey, maybe we can draft these guys really early, whereas Lamar Jackson was kind of the first one of this new age of quarterback that, gets drafted late and just shines. But yeah, he was a spectacular player. Gotta keep you healthy. Maybe we need to get some of these out to Nate Wiggins or something like that. David Ojabo, he might need some protein shakes. Why did I say that? Because they both came out of Louisville, and there were a lot of comparisons to Lamar Jackson when he came out of college. I didn't see them, but a lot of people did make the comparisons to Lamar Jackson because he was the guy that replaced Lamar at Louisville. But yes, very different players. I did not like the comparisons, but the comparisons were made a lot by national media, by Patriots fans when he got drafted, by even Louisville supporters, all of it. But again, I never really liked those comparisons. James Brochet put him at quarterback. Void, always great to have you in the chat. Oh man. Yeah, James Prochet, the absolute legend of the Greg Roman wide receiver pass, threw it up into triple, quadruple coverage through that awesome pick. But hey, he had it 30, 40 yards in the air. That was more than we saw out of Devin Leary and Josh Johnson in their first game. So maybe he does have a good arm. We'll find out. Let's see here. Oshawa needs pickles, bananas, and milk. Get his body right. Lisa, I don't necessarily think we'll see a lot of Patrick Ricard, more because we know he's fantastic. And I think what we're trying to focus on in the preseason is just going to be the players we don't know, right? The rookies, the new players, the tight ends. We know Patrick Ricard is going to pancake people. We know he can catch, those short passes in the flats. We know he can block linebackers. He can block pass rushers. He can, hop on the line. He can block from the backfield. He can do it all. We know what he can do. So I don't necessarily think we'll see much of him. But that's not saying he's, not going to make the team. He's 100% making the team. It's just, we know exactly what he does. We're trying to run pretty simple offense, and we want to see more out of other players, such as backup tight ends, more wide receiver sets, and stuff like that. What's going on, Sean? How's it going? In terms of the Falcons, I do want to pull up their depth chart because it'll be nice to see what they have going on. Is there any players that you guys are looking forward to seeing from the Falcons? Casey Washington was getting very involved last week. They have obviously Michael Penix. Honestly, that looks like it's about it of rookie players that are enticing. There's some players that are injured. So, yeah, it's really about Michael Penix and Casey Washington are the big guys. And Casey Washington, wide receiver out of Illinois. But why do we always got to go back to Amon Marshall? I loved Amon Marshall. His invisibility will make read options unstoppable. I'm not convinced he was a real person. Boy, this is one of the best comments you've ever had. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty good. How do you see the Lamar communication with the O line is developing? I mean, I would assume well. I mean, the biggest thing is we have two rookies that are likely going to be playing on the offensive line, Roger Rosengarten and Andrew Voorhees. But Voorhees has been in the building. He has familiarity with Lamar Jackson. The center, the left tackle, both have familiarity with the offensive line. So very exciting to see how that develops. But, week one, it might be a little bit of a struggle. However, you know, it's left guard and right tackle are going to be the big points. And the other guys all have at least experience and camaraderie with Lamar Jackson. So we'll see how exactly it works out. But that's a good thing to keep an eye on for week one and throughout the rest of the season. Can't wait. I'm lowering this. Can't wait for the regular season is the big man package. I imagine the full line Ricard, Henry, Andrews, Kohler, likely Lamar. Have Kohler and Andrews light up a tight end, likely it's slot RPO. That would be fantastic. I'm very excited to see how the Ravens utilize Derrick Henry, especially in the red zone. I'm curious to see if we run any wildcat. He did that a fair bit at Tennessee on 3rd and 1, as well as goal line situations. He threw a couple of touchdown passes out of wildcat. He also just is a monster on wildcat. Greg Roman ran a bit of wildcat, if you guys remember, back in 2019. I believe Mark Ingram had a 40-yard touchdown on 4th and 1 against the Texans in wildcat. Yeah, Yolanda, I want to see how this defense fares against Penix, because Penix is a gunslinger. He is going to take shots deep. He is going to take shots that not a lot of other quarterbacks are going to try and make, because he has the arm that very few players in the history of football have been able to replicate. So, there's going to be it's a much better arm than Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee. I'll say that much. Bigger game out of Tez. Yeah, I hope we get to see Tez. I think part of the reason he wasn't playing was as much last week was he was coming off of injury, just getting back to it at practice. So, I think maybe there was just some, getting used to it, getting back out there sort of feels. So would love to see some deep shots, would love to see some, intermediate shots, maybe a screen to him, get him really going. And let's see here. Love to see Voorhees and Tez Walker. Absolutely. So I think Voorhees is one of my favorite players to watch, because he's just so strong and he's such a bully on the interior. It makes it a lot of fun. And then let's see here. I'm just scrolling through tweets to see if there's any other news. I don't see any other news. I wanted to say Orlando Brown Jr. has 2 years left on his contract. I think he signed a 3-year deal, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll look it up. So he signed a 4-year, $64 million contract. His cap hits are 16 million, 22 million for the next 3 years. So he's got 3 years left. Ricard at tight end, Beaks at fullback, direct snap to Henry, 5 down lineman. What about having Faalele at fullback? Henry goes right side and has the option to keep it or throw it to likely on a crossing route. No, definitely. Or we could have a play where Patrick Ricard, we run wildcat. Patrick Ricard lines up in the backfield with Derrick Henry. Patrick Ricard runs out up through the offensive line, and if he doesn't hit anyone, Derrick Henry throws it to him. And so it's a Patrick Ricard receiving touchdown because people think he's the lead blocker, so they try and avoid him. We need to see Dayton Wade tonight. I would love to see some more Dayton Wade. He had a fantastic first game after that first play he had where he dropped the ball, got involved in the screen game, which reportedly the Ravens want to run more screens. And then, well, I expect we'll see him. I want to see us take some shots, though. Like, I don't know why in the preseason the Ravens refuse to take deep shots. Like, I feel like it's a big enough part of their regular offense that they should find out who's good with the ball in the air. I feel like every preseason, it's like the longest pass was like 15 yards downfield. Like, let's get something deep. Probably would get run over before he gets out of his stance. He can't move. Very fair. Can't wait to see Penix. Want to see Bump Cooper and Mullen lock it down. Bo Braid too, but definitely can't wait to see Leary, Walker, Waden, Wright, and Kohler. Definitely O-line gel with the new coaches. We do have a new offensive line coach, as our old coach is, I believe he's sick. And so they had to hire someone who previously, I believe, worked with the Houston Texans. And I also think that in this game, we should hope to see how the running back room is playing out, because looked like Owen Wright definitely made a charge at being that RB3 on the depth chart. How will Rasheen Ali respond? And once again, what is the Baltimore Ravens strategy on the kickoffs? They had a very interesting strategy in week 1. They doubled one of the guys up the gut and then had someone pull around so that they could create a larger hole. It worked pretty well. Rasheen Ali got tripped up, but he definitely had the most burst of anyone I have seen so far through the preseason with these new kickoff rules. Rasheen Ali looked like he was the closest to taking it to the house out of anyone. So can the Ravens try and build on those new strategies? What will Justin Tucker's kicks look like? Where's he trying to put the ball? Is he trying to put it deep, trying to get it close so that they don't have a lot of room? We're going to find out. I'm super excited to see exactly what happens. Yolanda, totally agree. I loved Cleveland at center. It's just unfortunate that we have Tyler Linderbaum, but Cleveland can definitely play center. Maybe that's something where like he gets traded because the team needs a center. I don't know. Yes, I would love to see some Devin Leary deep shots. Just try it. Like, if the Ravens want to see what you can do. Like, if they call a deep shot, they want to see you take that deep shot if you see one-on-one. Like, obviously don't make a stupid throw, but if you see one-on-one, like, the Ravens team should just be saying, like, hey, if you see one-on-one, throw it. Like, see what these guys can do. We don't need to be playing this as if it's the Super Bowl. We need to be playing this as if we're trying to figure out what everyone can do. I assume this is in terms of the running backs. Honestly, I would probably keep Rasheen Ali, mostly because of his speed and pass catching ability. But Owen Wright, like, if he does what he did in game 1, the next 2 games, I'm going to have a hard time saying Rasheen Ali I would rather have. Because he looked really good week 1. He found the holes really well. He fell forward. He caught the ball. He pass blocked. He did it all. For a guy out of Monmouth, that's pretty impressive in his debut, his preseason debut. I like Anthony Miller. Yeah, I definitely like Anthony Miller. I love Anthony Miller and I love Russell Gage. I think those 2 additions are very, very good. And, I think one of them at least should make the team. And both could make the team, because we have to remember Tylan Wallace, I think, is he's one of the biggest locks for the team out of anybody because of how good he is on special teams. So if we have Tylan Wallace as just a certified special teams player and we keep Anthony Miller and Russell Gage, that would not surprise me. I think I think Anthony Miller is probably battling it out with Dayton Wade right now, is probably the two players closest to that final wide receiver spot, if there is a final wide receiver spot. Let's see here. I love Devin Leary because he was in Kentucky. Now he faces a different animal in the NFL. Yeah, it's just like, luckily he's done with his first game. Hopefully the jitters are out. Hopefully he can just go out there, be himself, and, try and take some, make some good throws because, his first couple drives he really struggled. But that touchdown drive he ended up looking really calm and poised. So, I thought he looked a lot better as the game went on. Lil Raven, I appreciate you joining in. And yeah, I definitely want to see some better quarterback play out of the Ravens because backup quarterback is a position that is very valuable in the NFL. Not necessarily as a, Joe Flacco situation of last year where quarterback goes down, you got to play the rest of the year. It's more in the situation of, hey, quarterback goes down for the rest of the game. What do you do? Or a quarterback has a concussion. Maybe you have to play one game. That's the situations you need a backup quarterback for because everybody's season is over. Almost everybody, except for a couple of teams and throughout history. But almost everyone's season is over as soon as the quarterback is hurt for the season. But if it's just for a game, hopefully you have a backup quarterback that can, have a good drive or have a good game to save you that 1 week, which is why Ryan Fitzpatrick was like the greatest backup quarterback of all time, was because he would just sling the rock every time. And you could definitely win. You weren't going to win consistently with him as a starter, but you could win some games when he was a backup. Sean, we've had him a couple of times. I think this is his second stint in Baltimore because he left and joined the 49ers because Tyler Huntley was the backup, and then we brought him back last year. Malik Cunningham is better than all of our backups. I mean, I think it's just like I'm very disappointed that we didn't even try for like a veteran backup quarterback because there's plenty of them, like Ryan Tannehill or something like that. Yeah, Lil Raven. We've had him like off and on for the last few years. But everyone, I think that's gonna do it. This game starts in 2 minutes. Make sure to get your popcorn ready or your sandwich ready if you're having lunch, whatever it is. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe for more. And after the game, I'll do a post-game stream. We'll talk about all the good things that happen. So thank you so much. We'll see all of you again then.